Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review. First of all, massive shout out to Bethesda and Arcane for lending me a copy of the game. This is my first ever early review copy and I'm so glad people are finally recognizing my talent, and I couldn't have gotten here without my mom. However, I'm sorry I wasn't able to actually get this review out before the game was released or for release date. A lot of life stuff was going on, and also there were a couple of bugs that actually hindered my progress through the game. More on that later, but anyways, let's get into the review now. Deathloop is very similar to Dishonored, and that's a great thing. I was a huge fan of the beloved series, and Deathloop takes things to another level. Deathloop is Dishonored on steroids, with optional multiplayer. You play as Colt Van and start the game being murdered, only to come back to life and realize you're stuck in a death loop. The only way to break the loop is by killing all 8 of the visionaries on the island before the day ends, as I'm sure most of you know from the numerous trailers that have been released from the game. I believe this was a classic case of too much being shown of a game before its release, as there weren't many surprises left from the story when playing this game. Initially, the game is quite linear in how it presents the story, as it introduces you to some of the characters, the plot of the game, and an important mechanic called infusion that allows you to keep items between loops. Once you learn what you need to do to break the loop, the game really opens up, allowing you to visit all of the island at any time to complete the game. The main campaign of the game lasted 36 hours in our playthrough, and this was unfortunately extended by a couple of hours due to the fact that the game crashed so many times on me during my playthrough. These crashes consistently occurred in the middle of gunfights and would often happen at the worst possible moments. For example, when I'm at least 30 minutes into a level. And since there's a quick save feature in the game, this really made me rage quit, because I would have to restart whole levels and it just got very frustrating. It was even more frustrating when I'd assassinated the target I was after, including Juliana sometimes, and I still had to repeat the whole level, and yeah, it just drove me insane. Luckily, I managed to resolve these issues when I turned off ray tracing, and despite these issues, gameplay is still king in Deathloop. If you played Dishonored, then you'll be right at home here. The game is primarily designed for sneaky gameplay, crouching and stalking your prey before stabbing them in the back, cutting their heads off, or any other myriad of ways of murdering them with your machete. Certain visionaries are owners of slabs, which grant the holder otherworldly powers. You gain these powers from killing the visionaries and taking the slabs for yourself. Some powers you may be familiar with, such as Shift, a very useful teleportation ability that allows you to flee combat if it gets too heated, or traverse to new areas you were unable to access previously, or brand new, extremely fun powers like Carnesis that allows you to throw people around like a baby having a tantrum with dolls. The Ether Slab grants you the power of invisibility, but any aggressive noise or wrong movement will break the illusion. Invisibility can be very broken in this game. With the right upgrades and weapons, however, made the game a little too easy, if I'm honest. The Nexus Slab allows you to connect the fates of your enemies. Once linked, eliminating one of them will eliminate them all. Finally, Havoc is essentially you turning into the Hulk, allowing you to take more damage and deal more damage. All of the powers can also be upgraded when you kill visionaries and collect the same slab again. As previously mentioned, the main aim of the game is to assassinate all 8 of the visionaries before the day ends. Each day is split into 4 times: morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. There are also 4 areas on the island that can be explored. Only one area may be explored during one time of the day. You may die up to 3 times in an area. Whenever you die, you'll be teleported back to a position you were a little further away, like Tracer from Overwatch.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
You'll also lose all of your residuum, the game's main collectible that is used for infusing items. Similarly to Dark Souls, if you reach your body after you die, you'll be able to recollect all of the residuum that you lost. However, if you die again before reaching your body, then you lose all of your residuum that you had previously. If you die 3 times in an area at any point, then the whole day will have to be repeated, and all progress that day will be lost. Sounds pretty rough, especially considering you can spend like 10 to 30 30 minutes in each area, so it could be like an hour of progress that you lose if you die. Luckily, the game has infusion, which allows you to keep your items, so if you do end up dying in the evening, for example, then you get to keep all of your items that you infused previously throughout the day. Residuum can be spent on slabs, slab upgrades, weapons, and trinkets. Trinkets are used to give your character or your weapons buffs. The areas will vary for each part of the day, and actions earlier on in the day may affect later parts of the day in that area, and may potentially have consequences for other visionaries. By repeating the day over and over, you must identify patterns in the visionary's behavior in order to determine what to take advantage of, or the best moment to strike to kill as many visionaries during a single time of day, or without being hands-on with your assassinations. Knowledge is power in this game, as it is transferable between loops and will help you narrow down how to kill all 8 visionaries in a single day. I absolutely love how this game makes you feel like a badass detective assassin. However, I do wish the game gave you the option to disable objective markers like immediately rather than hiding it in the menus, as sometimes I felt like the game was pointing me in the right direction a little too much, and it would be nice for the game to give you the opportunity to actually work things out for yourself a bit more. Even though you repeat the same actions here and there, the game never really gets boring. This is driven by the fact that there are so many different ways to play this game. Each time you enter an area, you can change your loadout. So you could play as a stealthy assassin that focuses on using invisibility and teleportation to silently shoot your way through the level, not even giving the Eternalists time to react to your silent headshots. Or you can go in guns blazing with Havoc mode, chucking enemies around before they even get a chance to draw their weapon. Either way, the game is immensely fun to play. The game is well designed in the journey to finding the solution to killing all 8 of the visionaries, and even though the game starts off quite linear, it eventually opens up, allowing you to tackle the game in whatever order you choose. The lead section of the menu gives clear goals and objectives for the player to follow for their trail of investigation on visionaries or gathering the best weapons. If you're not too much of the detective type and you would rather focus on the killing and objectives, then this helps make the game not be too overwhelming. Some people have complained that the game is too easy, and whilst this can be true, especially when you combine the right slab upgrades, trinkets, and weapons, I believe this is done by design, since if you make the player die too often, then they have to restart the loop multiple times, which can lead to a lot of progress being lost and a lot of time spent doing the same task over and over to reach the point where you left off before dying. The AI definitely has its moments of stupidity, and the Eternalists could definitely use more training to increase their awareness, or even scream a little as they're brutally murdered, but it does lead to some comical moments.
Hey, bully.
Oh, shit!
Gotcha, bitch!
Oh God, please, no, I have a wife, I have family, I have kids, please, Bobby, Colt's here, Bobby, please, Colt's right here, please, somebody, anybody, please, I'm dying.
Must have been the wind.
Deathloop brings with it a really interesting multiplayer mechanic. Juliana is one of the visionaries that is actively hunting down the main character, Colt. When playing the game, you can select to play the main campaign and break the loop as Colt, or play as Juliana and protect the loop. Juliana can invade Colt's area at any point during the game, either as an AI controlled player or another player online. Juliana plays the same as Colt, apart from one ability that allows Juliana to disguise herself as an enemy Eternalist. Juliana will have to kill Colt until he reaches the maximum 3 times of death in order to successfully protect the loop, whereas Colt will only need to kill Juliana once to get rid of her and continue his mission. Again, this is by design, since Colt will lose everything they haven't infused for the day if they die completely. Playing as Juliana is quite different, as you only have 1 life, so you have to try and play more cautiously. Eternalists will not attack you, and security systems will not be alerted to your presence. You earn new weapons, trinkets, and slabs as you complete more matches, and also you are awarded bonus points for completing special objectives. The multiplayer is unfortunately plagued with one major issue. Most people will want to play this game only as a single player game. When playing as Colt, you're able to choose between between 3 different modes. Single player mode, so Juliana is only ever controlled by AI, friends only, or multiplayer. Most people will select friends only or single player mode because of the roguelite mechanics. Dying and therefore losing all of your progress for that day in the game sucks, and there's little incentive for the player to select multiplayer mode when playing as Colt. The game will reward you for playing as Juliana with skins for Colt and Juliana, but little rewards for letting other players invade your game as Colt. The only reward I can think of is gaining upgrades for slabs quicker if you manage to kill Juliana, but you only get upgrades for specific slabs that Juliana brings in with her to hunt you down. So you might not like what you end up with. So this has led to a state of limbo where if you try to invade a game as Juliana, it will lead to extremely long wait times trying to find a game to play. I've waited for half an hour and still didn't manage to find a game. This was during the evening on a weekday, which would be peak time for the game. Graphically, the game is stunning and the environments vary throughout the day. It's still got that Dishonored style about it without the characters being overly disproportionate. I mean, those hands, they could touch me any day. I mean, there are also these really awesome cutscene segments shown during breakthroughs in knowledge and big milestones throughout the game, which are a nice touch. The soundtrack for the game was really awesome as well, with a funky and mysterious vibe. Sound effects in the game are also really well done. Headshots give a satisfying guitar. The gun's bullets sound weighty and weapons feel really good to use in general. The voice acting in the game is also absolutely phenomenal as well. All of the characters are interesting with witty writing to bring them to life. Colt and Juliana's conversations towards the beginning of a level is especially humorous.
You and I got to your power generators. Booyakasa!
Deathloop is a fantastic game, providing a brilliant gameplay experience with a variety of different ways to play and an excellently designed campaign. It's an unfortunate situation with the status of its multiplayer at the moment, and it is unlikely to get any better given the game will probably fall in popularity after its release. It's also a shame with regards to the bugs and glitches that the game has had, as well as its performance issues. But nonetheless, if you're looking for a game where you can be an absolute badass with your powers and also an investigator, so to speak, this is absolutely a game for you. And with all that said, I'm giving the game an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more reviews in the future. Leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a dislike if you didn't. Until the next one, this is GoldKarat signing out. Peace. Nintendo. Nintendo is a fantastic company that releases classics we know and love like Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and
the DC superhero girls are here to save the day.
Hi, everyone.